Well, when I was growing up, I did theater, and when I went to college, I also did a lot of speech and debate, which I liked a lot. But then when I went to college, I got more interested in the backstage things. It seemed like a more practical way to approach stuff. I eventually went to Yale in the design program, which is actually where I met Cletus. And I was actually working as kind of the assistant to the professor, and Cletus came as a graduate student. Night Riders was the first time. George had an art director. They called Cletus and asked him if he would come down and talk to George, and he did. And it was kind of it was an interesting way to get started, because at the same time he was doing a show at the Public Theater, Macbeth. And so he had to then go ahead and design Night Riders and finish Macbeth, and we were building Macbeth in the costume shop at CMU, and it was very, very busy at that time, and then he was designing his first film. It was a little frantic, because if you've never done anything like that, you're not sure how to do it. But I mean, we'd done so much theater production, we did know how to do it. And it's like, one of the things I remember was one of the first times I met one of the actresses who was just one of the crowd in that thing. But the first thing she said to me was, "There's something I have to tell you." And to a costume designer, that has to mean she's pregnant. It was a very tight-knit group of people. And at the time when a lot of things was happening, it was, everybody knew everybody, and we had a good time working together. Well, Creepshow was a problem because it had so many various things, and it was different for both of us because, Cletus would be creating the set for today and then creating the set for tomorrow, and so we didn't interact a lot when we're actually in shooting because we have different areas to go. But then, of course, at night we would come home and talk about the problems and anything we'd have. But we always got along really well in terms of cooperating, and I had no problems with getting ideas to and from him. George, on the other hand, he wanted the costumes to be right, but he didn't want to be bothered with them much, So that was okay. Vivica, she was really difficult. She insisted on smoking a cigar. That was the thing that she wanted to do, and then she kept having things about needing special things to drink because that was drying out her mouth and all this kind of stuff. Funniest thing, of course, was when Cletus decorated the head of Carrie Nyes. He just used her, and he made a fake tray to go around her head, and she just sat there while he did all the decorating and all the cake frosting and stuff on her head, which was kind of fun. I actually had gone to Yale with Carrie Nyes, so I knew her before. But she thoroughly enjoyed that and, cooperated very well in getting her costume sprayed on her. When we were doing Jordy Verrill with Stephen King as the lead, and he was a lovely man to work with. He was writing, of course, during the day and everything, but he, was very cooperative, enjoyed doing it. So he was fun. He was actually fun to have around. I had his costume, and we had to gradually make it greener and greener as we went through the episodes. And then by the final episode, I had to put a lot on his body. In order to do this, because he has a very hairy chest, and in order to glue things onto him, I had to shave part of his chest. And this was done because we had done Creeping Up on You before this section, so we were in the building accompanied by a number of roaches, because though the roach wranglers had sworn they would get rid of all of them, they did not. But so it was just being there in this kind of gray, cold morning, and shaving, shaving his chest and gluing the green stuff on him and watching the roaches run by. And when Cletus was working on the Geordie Verrill house, it was just, you know, gradually this crew at night would come in and do some more for the next day and then do some more for the next day. And that's what we did with the clothes too. Actually, we had over the costume shop at CMU, for a while there, I had this set of overalls that we had used. They were in stock and people would say, "What on earth is this?" And it's gone now, I'm sure, but it was just kind of a funny thing to have around, because you had to keep, in both cases, you just had to keep, you know, making it greener and also looking like it's growing. Well, the funniest thing was that because Ted, when he was normal and then he was not normal, the day that we got him all stuffed with seaweed and with little fishy things and stuff like that, and his daughter, about maybe 3 feet tall, was there kind of running around, and we were all concerned. We thought, we've got to make sure she doesn't see her dad looking like that. It'd scare her. And so we were all very concerned about that. And it was, came to set, and she ran over to him and said, "Daddy." So there was no problem at all. And then he and Galen, they knocked on the door, and the door was opened, and he said,
"Can we use your phone?"
It starts out in the Carnegie Mellon hallways, and then they go downstairs. But when they get downstairs, it's the set that was there. No, it was not based on classrooms. He built it all on set and designed it. So I've actually got a bunch of sketches that he did of how he wanted that to look like. At one point, we had the cocktail party, and I was looking out, and there were the extras out there, and suddenly I realized, I said, "George, don't shoot that one. He's got on the same jacket as Fritz Weaver does." But for the most part, I mean, the rest of the cast was fine. Cletus was in that one. We weren't in the house very much. We were mostly in the yard. And Cletus rearranged some of their yard, which upset them. So he put it all back, so that they wouldn't be concerned about that.
"Oh, honey, these people are dry. Now take care of them. They don't know what they're doing."
Adrienne was here, and she needed a number of things. And so I took her shopping. And it was so funny because we started shopping in Shadyside, and then we went down to some stores downtown, and by the time we got downtown, they said, "Oh, we heard you was down." So obviously they were spreading the word around. So at one point, our daughter Catherine was working on things. In fact, she was Adrienne's stand-in for a while because she had the same coloring, the same hair, the same bust. So she was very much like that. But there was this rumor going around on the set that Cletus was having an affair with some young girl that always left with him at the end of the day. I don't remember there was anything specifically in the set because the script changed from what they thought they were going to do to what they decided they could afford to do. So, I mean, it was just a question of what to do with it. And it seemed he just decided that logically, because it wouldn't be expensive to do, was to do the white kind of set.
Well, he's stunned. That's the explanation. Roaches are very hard to kill.
Marshall, E.G. Marshall, was, when they put some roaches on him, he was great with it. He thought it was really interesting. At the wrap party, they had a big cake that had dates all over it. It was a really fun thing to see, and it was George's most successful movie. I thought Night Riders was a great movie, but it wasn't very successful, which was too bad, because he had his heart in that. But the fun of Creepshow was that everybody kind of got delighted to buy it. Creepshow, I think it's nice that it's been popular through the ages because it was a great example of Cletus's work and the kinds of things he could do and his great attention to detail, even though it was more difficult than many things because it had so many different sets and so much of it had to be built that it was hard. But then he always, you know, he worked very hard. Working with them was a wonderful experience, and we were very lucky to do that. And it was fortunate for us too because we were teaching at Carnegie Mellon the whole time these were going on, and it was great experiences for our students because we both used students to help on our areas. And a lot of the people that work with Cletus on the sets and stuff have had very successful careers out in LA. It was great. We always had interesting things to do and interesting people to meet. It was great for our kids to have that kind of an atmosphere around them. It was easy to get the mortgage paid off on this house. so it was. I'm very grateful for my experiences with George and with Creepshow. The one thing I discovered is that zombies get the way they are because they wear too much polyester. Because I got most of the costumes for any of my zombies, you know, and from the Goodwills and places like that.